Good morning, guys. January the 10th here in central Illinois. Got a little bit of snow this morning. I just thought I'd put a little quick video together to show you what I was up to. Something that I don't do very often, and I've mentioned this before, is run some of the stuff I've got. Well, this morning I've got a American Flyer O-Gauge. I bought this engine a long time ago. I can't tell you, it's got to be at least 40 years ago that I bought it. But this is a Flyer, excuse me, this is a Flyer that came from, I believe they called it their 400 set. And I can't remember now if it was originally a passenger or a freight set. But the 400 is the Chicago Northwestern Railway. And I always liked this engine primarily because it's got the very large drivers, the same drivers that was on the American Flyer Hudson, which I never got. But I always liked the Hudson, and I like this as a 242. The other things that I have with it are Flyers Illini cars. They came in green and I think a maroon color. And they originally came with their 3020. That was a 4-4. I'm sorry. Yeah, it was. It was a 444 electric. It was like their President Special electric outline. And I always wanted a 3020 to pull these cars, but these cars are hook couplers. And once again, in American Flyer's vast wisdom, they used a thing they called harpoon couplers. It was only good for pulling those passenger cars. They didn't even make any freight cars with harpoon couplers. So I never got a 3020. But this put together makes a really nice little passenger set. The other thing I wanted to tell you is I'm in the process of converting this inner circle. It will be converted into 5-rail track. USA Track now has a large selection of O-gauge ties, insulators, and of course rail. So I bought 250 O-gauge ties, 275 insulators, and then I bought, I think it was 46 or 48 individual pieces of rail that will be 57-inch, and then I will put those on the inside, mount them, and then cut them off with my chop saw. And this is what I buy. I've bought this stuff from USA Rail. I just buy the rails, and then you construct what you want. This particular curve, this is the 72-inch circle, and I bought that a long time ago to make this track right here. So when I get it and I start to convert, and I may just show you exactly real quick how to do. I'll either do a straight piece or I'll do a curve. It's easy, it's straightforward. If you can buy the material, you can get it done. The other thing I just wanted to bring out, I get a lot of guys that ask me about my Elevated over there. What is it? Did I build it? You know, that kind of stuff. Yes, this is nothing more than cheap rock gut lumber that we picked up. They might even be made out of pallets, I'm not sure. But it was a friend of mine who had gobs and gobs of scrap lumber, and I wanted scrap lumber to build this thing. I wanted it to look like what a kid may have done, you know, back during the Great Depression, where he didn't have money to do really buy something fancy, but he had the skills, and you get the free wood or materials to build it. And there ain't a nail in this thing. All I did is make these uprights, and I set them so that all the pressure was always down. There wasn't any shear anywhere. You didn't put it on an edge, and you need to nail it down, because I'll tell you what, some of those trains up there on that, well, I had been running, there we go. There is a low ball pre-war scale Berkshire. That thing is unbelievable. And when I would put it on the top of that, I was always afraid I might get a collapse. But it held it well. And that whole thing can be taken down. There ain't a nail. Nothing holds that down except its weight. I can take that Elevated down in about The hardest part would be taking the track off, but I can take the elevated down in 45 minutes and throw it someplace. But that's all this is. This is just I have a I have a gauge that allows me to cut this stuff. I mean, I measure it. It's a miter box is what it is. So all this stuff is glued together with white glue, and it I think you'd have to admit it gives a pretty good effect. My whole idea was to do it as much of like the elevated in Chicago. And like I say, all this stuff lifts right off. There's absolutely nothing to it. The only thing I bought because I was getting tired was the viaducts over there. They came out of Canada, and those are scale. They're 1 gauge. And I ain't even going to begin to tell you what I had to pay for those things. They are fantastic, but looking back on it, I was getting tired of doing all this wood work, and I wanted to get it finished up. So I went that route. That allowed me to finish that in very short order. But they are really nice. Individual rivets, I mean the whole ball of wax. But I wish I would have kept it now more toy-like, like I originally started it off with. So that's just a little rundown on the doggone elevated. All right. The other thing that we've got, let me set some of this stuff down here. The other thing that we're working on, along with all this other stuff, is the dump. I've got the cab to a certain extent, the way I want it, and we'll know more as I put it together. I've already mounted a headlight. And this is what I'm doing now. I'm outlining the holes with brass. And that is cut in, dropped in, and I'll build a whole brass frame around that and then square everything up, I hope. This is what I'm using. 1/8 of an inch brass angle. And I'll tell you what, if you don't have one and you're going to do this kind of work, you need to buy yourself, you need to find a sheet metal nibbler. These things are absolutely outstanding. That's how I made the holes in this thing. That's how I cut the brass angle iron. And then along with that, you need gobs and gobs of little files. Now, I don't know how many of you guys even know what a distributor is on a car. There used to be a distributor and what they called points, and it rolled on a cam, and you had to adjust those points. Well, what this is, I found a hardware store that had these sitting in the back. These are distributor point files, and they must have had, I don't know, 25, 30 of them. I bought every damn one of them I could buy because they are absolutely, positively fantastic for model work. I can remove a lot of material, and it works. These work really, really good. I use it on these windows. I use it on other stuff. In fact, I used it to trim everything up on this piece of brass angle iron, removing just enough material to get it to drop into that opening. And these openings are supposed to be 1 inch square is what we're looking at. So that's what we're doing with this. I'll be glad to get this set up so that I can have five rail track, and if I really get into it, I may even do the 42-inch circle. I may do the inner circle with that. So at least I've got, I could run 3 O-gauge trains should I want to. I had thought about turning this inside loop to 1 gauge. I mean, all I got to do on that is just move the outside rails in by 1 peg, and I'd have 1 gauge. But I really like being able to run 3 standard gauge trains at one time if I want to. So that's what we're up to. This something else that's nice to have, buy magnets. Magnets allows you to set this stuff up without having to do a spot solder or putting a set of railway ties underneath of it. You can a good set of magnets just allows you to do all kinds of stuff, and it holds this stuff tight. It really does. All right, what we're going to do is we're going to run that flyer passenger train. I hate passenger trains, absolutely detest them, but we're going to run it anyhow. It hasn't been ran for a long time. But I think that just makes a nice passenger unit. And it's got lights in it, if the lights were good. So maybe today, it's snowing here in central Illinois. We're calling for about 3 inches of snow. So maybe again I'll stay inside and I'll play with this stuff. I don't have anything else to do, that's for darn sure. Christmas is all put up. And I'm just sitting around waiting to die. So I might as well have fun while I'm waiting. So that's pretty much it for today. I hate the fact that I used the top of my layout as my construction table. Here's another project that's been languishing for the last 2.5 years. I've been trying to decide how to put a doggone motor unit into this car. It is absolutely the perfect size to make an early rail inspection car. Super light sheet metal. Everything's tabbed together. I can literally take this thing apart. In fact, if I ever get it done, I'll be able to take out the interior. That's all lithography in there. I can remove that. I can paint the whole car and then put the lithography back in and have a decent looking interior. I just got to figure out exactly what I want to use for a motor and how I'm going to install a motor and the wheels in this thing. Just so I may live long enough to finish it, and I may not. All right, guys, that's it. Y'all have a good weekend. Stay warm out there. It's going to be cold, and we'll talk with you later. Toodaloo.